पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. In the last 5 verses of this chapter 7 of Bhagavad Geetā, we will see how Sri Krishna completes his narration of his own eternal divinity and how everyone is entitled to self-realization. What is coming in the way is the Maya, Trigunatmika Maya. In the last verse, namely 24th, we saw how Sri Krishna explicitly said, he said, after mentioning that there is the same effort in settling for lower gratification and in reaching the highest. In the 24th, he said, most people simply ignore the teaching that here is the Lord who is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, all-powerful, all-knowing, and in surrendering to Him, we get completely freed from our sorrow. They ignore this truth because they look at Sri Krishna as just any other. Today, a good number of so-called Hindus do not look at Rama or Krishna as those who had actually appeared on the earth. The influences from other cultures, propaganda of other cultures, the highlighting of beliefs in those cultures, and completely downplaying, if not finding fault with, insulting the Indian beliefs has been going on for 1,000 years, and even in the independent India, alas, it has been going on. Now there are some signs of people, Sanatana Dharmis, putting their chest up and expressing themselves. Otherwise, there was a fear. If Hindus talk something about their own religion in a public scenario, there was a fear somebody would say, hey, this is a secular country and so on. Whereas rampantly, other religious organizations go about making very questionable statements, making disparaging statements about Hindu gods or whatever Hinduism regards as holy. So it's a very big topic, vast topic, and it is only through God's grace that there is some turning around now. All right. In the 24th verse, Sri Krishna had pointed out a lot of people would not just know the Mahima of Godhead, of Sri Krishna in particular, or Ishvara Tattva in general. Sri Shankaracharya raises a question. Tadiyam ajnanam kim nimittam? How come these people have such ignorance? Such ignorance about the Supreme Godhead Himself. Therefore, that is the connection that Shankaracharya gives. Sri Krishna, therefore, in the 25th verse, once more mentions that there is this Maya created by him only. This Maya is what veils the vision of people on the earth. 25th shloka goes like this. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha mudhoyam nabhijanati loko mam ajam avyayam. I am not explicit, I am not known, I am not visible. Prakasha here means being available, being visible, being within line of sight, being noticeable. Naham prakasha. Most people do not notice me at all. Sarvasya. Everyone cannot know me because they are yoga maya samavrita. Their vision is blocked by maya. Everybody gets this question at such times. If God only created maya, He then makes all of us blind to His glory. Who is at fault? God or us? Maya was created by God. Now, Sri Ramakrishna, through a little parable, answers this. A child asks the mother, let's play something. The child only opts for the game where the mother would tie a blindfold upon the eyes of the child, and then the child has to look around where the mother is. The game begins. Child had asked for it. And the mother is just there only just around. But when the child is moving, maybe in the front yard of the house, she doesn't find the mother. And then the child begins to imagine, my mother has just left me like this and gone away. She has deserted me. She seems to have no interest in me, and so on. The child begins to imagine and then imagines more and more. And then at some point, the child gets frustrating thoughts, suicidal emotions, everything very terrible, and cries. Thank God, children have one good quality. When they are very uncomfortable, they cry loudly. At least others know what they are going through. Adults suppress their suffering. Even when you ask them, how are you doing? Fine, they say. While they actually have so much turmoil inside them. Coming back to this parable, when the child is crying bitterly, the mother, who is just 3 meters, 10 feet away, comes running and holds the child in her embrace, removes the blindfold, and says, why would I go away from you? Why would I leave you like that? Please do not imagine. Vedanta is like that child who comes to the rescue. Avidya, which is erroneous perception, is the blindfold, is the imagination, There is just this error to be removed. There is no real avidya, which is as though some substance, which is as though something which is. This error itself is na janami, is the avidya. And that error generates a certain frame of reference where millions of things happen. Vedanta is just to let us know that this perception is wrong. Nothing is happening. Nothing ever happened to you. Nothing ever can happen to you. You are Satchit Ananda. So, yes, Sri Krishna himself created this Maya. That's what we have asked for. So, it's a very involved topic. And when you dig very deep into this topic, Advaita Vedanta is very clear. Those who have not understood it are very uncomfortable with Advaita Vedanta. If they properly study the Advaita Vedanta, there can be nothing more positive than Advaita Vedanta, because it is this Advaita Vedanta which says, even at this moment you are not bound. You are Nitya Shuddha, Nitya Buddha, Nitya Mukta Swabhavaha. Therefore, Maya is not to be taken so literally and so seriously. It's a phantom figure. It appears here, vanishes. It appears there, vanishes. Like that, Maya Samavrita. Anyone who surrenders to God, anyone who, to use the language of Jnana Yoga, studies Upanishads devotedly, then a certain awakening takes place in them. That awakening shows not only you are not bound, you will laugh to realize you are not bound. You were also never bound. You cannot ever be bound in future. You are ever free. Nitya Mukta. It's a quite puzzling, no doubt, for those who have not been properly taught. It looks like self-contradictory. I am not bound, then why am I suffering? Question that suffering. Who is suffering? Who am I? What is suffering? What in it is suffering? Various illustrations are given by masters, and the sum and substance of it all is, upon inquiring both the sufferer and the suffering, which are in the frame of reference of adhyasa, go away. Therefore, not only the surroundings which might be causing some sorrow to us, but the imagined identity of ours, who is at the receiving end, that also vanishes. Because all along, other than, different from that entity which was suffering, all along there was pure awareness, pure consciousness in us. It was, it is, and it will be, but we have as though estranged ourselves. We have $1 million home, but for some reason we have walked and walked and walked away through a distant state and are living below trees, putting up small tents and looking for food and water and so on. Somehow find your own real house. Yoga Maya Samavritaha Sarvasya. So Yoga Maya Samavritaha grammatically is the adjective of Sri Krishna himself. I am covered or I am blocked. My vision is blocked. So, Jivaha api maya samavritaha. Jiva's vision is blocked. That's how I went on explaining. But grammatically, na aham prakashaha sarvasya, because the Jiva is put in sixth case, sarvasya. Yogamaya samavritaha aham sarvasya na prakasha. I, who is enveloped or who is covered by that screen, that is between me and the devotee, there is this screen of Maya. So Yogamaya samavritaha, hidden behind Yogamaya, I am not visible to all. Mudhoyam nabhijanati. The deluded person simply does not understand it. Lokaha. Lokaha, though grammatically singular, means all, everybody. Mam ajam na abhijanati. Mam avyayam na abhijanati. The world doesn't know me, who has no birth, who has no change. Apparently, Sri Krishna also was born, grew, got old, and one day dropped his body and went away. But all along, Sri Krishna was changeless. He was that Satchit existence, consciousness. Shankaracharya gives a brief commentary on this. Na aham prakashaha sarvasya lokasya keshanchideva madbhaktanam prakasha. Only for some devotees of very pure mind. In modern times, the tragedy of a lot of Vedanta students is they study Vedanta, they read, they attend camps, they go to various programs. But in their private life, they do not put in enough effort for overcoming likes and dislikes, for overcoming negative emotions. They don't even act on the gross level of Indriya Nigraha. They overeat, they oversleep, or they sleep at odd times. They get too much into money and pleasure and so on. Money, pleasure, all of them have a place in life, but excessive involvement in money, in pleasure. Narada Bhakti Sutra says, Stri Dhana Vairi Nastika Charitram Na Shravaniyam Na Karaniyam. So think about Nastika also. You have to keep a little distance. If you have friends who don't believe in God, you don't have to leave those friends, but don't get much involved. Don't get too close to them, for they will take away whatever faith you had in God. Therefore, Nastika Charitram, Na Shravaniyam. Someone has to be Anastika. In Vidura Niti, the Prime Minister Vidura says to Dhritarashtra, who is a Pandita, who is a wise person? Anastikaha Shraddadhanaha Etat Pandita Lakshanam. Somebody who is not an atheist, rather somebody who believes in God, in God's order, in the order, in the nice arrangement that God has made for this universe. God's laws are fair, are just. God is seeing from above. There may be delay in God's ruling or rule, but there will not be real darkness. Like in Hindi they say, "Dher hoga lekin andher nahi." There, sometimes there may be some delay in your getting justice. But the million-dollar question that you should ask yourself is, are you putting in the effort that you ought to put in? Therefore, Keshanchi Deva. So very few people are not only active in the study of Vedanta, but also japa, tapa, asana, pranayama, moderate eating, moderate sleep, and in terms of human values too. People should avoid telling lies. People should avoid deceiving others. So, when life has the touch of ethics, of morality, of right living, then Bhagavan becomes Prakasha. They are the people Sri Krishna refers to as the very few. Most people don't know God. And Shankaracharya refers to them as Keshanchi Deva. Only of some people, only in the case of some people, Bhaktanam Aham Prakasha. Yoga Maya Samavrata. What's the meaning of the word yoga here? Gunanam Yuktihi. The three gunas coming together and playing their game. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. There is a friend of mine who works till 1 a.m. every night, gets up late, and is sometimes sleepy even during the day. So we thought first that he is a very hardworking person, works extra time. Then one day we came to know. He said, somehow during the day, I don't feel like working. I watch television. I go on checking email, WhatsApp, etc. I walk out and go to a restaurant, eat something, have coffee, and come back. So one by one, he mentioned how he spends the day. The precious hours that are given to every one of us during the day, from sunrise to the sunset, this guy was wasting. He would do anything else than the work that he had to do. And then, like a repeating cycle, like a pattern repeating again and again, by late evening, he realizes, oh, my boss at you know, work has asked me to do this, or so and so has asked me to do this. I promised I would do for her, I would do it for him, but I have not done. Whole day I wasted. And then after dinner also, he takes some tea or coffee, works till 1 a.m. If the same person were to use, if not 8 or 10 hours, 4 to 5 hours during the daylight, with focus, with involvement, with attention, he can go to bed at 9:30 or 10 p.m. and get up early for 5 a.m., 4:30 a.m. Will be very fresh, do good things. Therefore, the show is this play of gunas. So recently I met him in Bangalore. I said, do you still do that mistake? Wasting all the daytime hours and working till 1 a.m. He's retired now. In spite of it, he has this issue. He said, it is reducing after you pointed out my error. He said. And one more thing, that gunanam yukti. He said to me that I also understood that both rajas and tamas are acting upon me in two different ways. I said, how? It is rajas, which, rajas is marked by motion. It is rajas that makes me pick up the newspaper and read for 1 hour. It is rajas that makes me turn the television channel and watch some controversial discussion. It is rajas that makes me attend to so many WhatsApp messages. So there are a lot of things he does with energy, but those things are not his duty. Then tamas plays. What is tamas? Now it is tamas that makes me sleep in between. While watching the television, I go to sleep. Morning 11, afternoon 3:30, evening 5:30, evening also. He sleeps for 145 minutes. That is tamas, or leave alone sleep. Sleep doesn't have to be, tamas doesn't have to be nidra only. Simply sitting in the balcony and looking out for a long time. You could have done some important work. So, not doing anything, going into some lazy moods, saying, well, I'm not energetic, I don't have the mood, and so on. Do something to set that mood right. If you are feeling sleepy, maybe you can just go around, take a short walk. Sometimes by a short walk, the mood changes. So both tamas and rajas have to be handled very carefully, and then you will have sattva. If during the day there is more and more sattva in you, you will do wonderful things, whether it's work or relating to people, everything. Sattvic energy is the medicine for so many of the evils that beset human life. Gunanam ghatanam, the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, rising and falling at different times in different combinations, sa eva maya. Yoga is the gunanam yukti. A very different definition for yoga here. It's not bhakti yoga or jnana yoga, not karma yoga or raja yoga. It is gunanam ghatanam, the coming together of gunas, where they play out then their game. Ataevaha, then taya yogamaya samavritaha sanchannaha ityartha. Sanchanna, chad chadayati, is to cover. Imagine your son comes with complete some blanket covering him. Though he is your own son, will you know it is your son? You say, I don't know who this is. It's your own son. He has to remove that blanket, remove the cloth which is covering him. Like that, God is covered, not in the sense he is suffering from it, but for our vision's sake. In the context of our being able to see him, we find Maya is blocking our vision. So, in that sense, it is okay to say he is enveloped by Maya. He is ever free, let it be clear. Atayeva moodaha lokaha ayam na abhijanati mam ajam avyayam. People who are deluded do not know God. Yaya yogamaya samavritam mam yogamaya samavritam mam lokaha na abhijanati na asau yogamaya madiya sati. Does it do anything to God Himself? No. Na asau mam pratibadnati. It doesn't do even a wee bit of harm. It doesn't bind God. Why? Madhyasati. It's mine. It's completely under my control. It cannot do anything at all. To use another analogy of Sri Ramakrishna, the fisherman goes into the river. Some 20 feet into the river he goes. He is standing with water up to his waist. And then he throws a net far and wide to catch as many fish as possible. Can you say, oh, that net is dangerous? What if the fisherman himself also gets caught in the net? That can never happen. The fisherman has thrown the net to catch fish, and in no way he gets affected. Madiya sati mama ishwarasya mayavinaha sati, being so, it being mine, dhanam pratibadnati, doesn't block my understanding. I am always clear. Yata anyasyapi mayavinaha maya dhanam tadvat. Like any magician, doesn't get affected. So, Sri Krishna is the magician, and his whole universe is his creation, and it goes by the laws that he has made. He knows very well how and why those laws were made, and we are not to ask. Don't say one morning, I want to ask God if he comes before me, why is fire hot? Oh, you want to ask God why if fire is hot? Okay, so if you were to create the universe by yourself, will you make fire cold and ice hot and so on? Thinking of the same, you're right. I will redesign this universe. So that is childish. Lord Krishna now takes us further in 26th verse. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mantu vedana kaschana. Aham samatitani veda. Samatitani means atita itself means the past. Some atita, things that are bygone. Whether a year ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 500 years ago. Aham samatitani veda, vedmi, janami, vartamani anicha. I know what is going on now. Vartaman. Vartamana is the present participle of vrit, vartate. Whatever there is. Then future. Bhavishyani cha veda. I know what will happen. Whether it's 5 minutes from now or 500 years from now. Bhavishyani cha bhutani. Mam tu vedana kasyana. While I know it all, past, present, and future, nobody knows me. Once in a general knowledge test on Bhagavad Gita, the panelist asked the children who were participating, a certain date meaning mainly month and the day of the month, are mentioned within the Gita. Which one is that? One girl knew the answer. The whole quiz was going on in Hindi language. She said 4 June, 4th June. 4 June is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Everybody else was puzzled. Why should Sri Krishna talk about 4th June? Then she said, 7th chapter, 26th verse, Vedaham samatitani vartamanani char 4 June. 4 June. Charjuna. Cha plus Arjuna becomes Charjuna. But in the world of jokes, Charjuna. Once a Malayali Swami, that is in Kerala, he asked me, Chidananji, do you know the initials of Brahma? Like people have no? Yes, Gopal, P. Murlidhar, K. S. Shanta, initials. S or P or K. S. Chaturmukha Brahma also has initials, he said. I said, I have never come across that. He said, "Yeah, it is M. In Kerala especially, the alphabet M, M-N-O-P-Q, M. Many people pronounce it as Yam, Yam. So he said in one shloka it is written Yam Brahma. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavai Vedai Sama Vedai Sanga Padakramopanishadai Yam Gayanti Yam Samagaha. Gita Dhyana Shloka. I can't pronounce that way the people in Kerala pronounce, but it is. So when they sing the shloka, they sing like that. Some people, not all. Yam Brahma. So Yam is M. So Brahma's initial is M. Next time I meet him, I'll ask him, did you find out the initials of Vishnu and Shiva also? He would have by now found somewhere. So Char June, Yam Brahma, like this there are jokes within Bhagavad Gita found from Bhagavad Gita. Like last one, let me tell you. Somebody asked which North Indian dish is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. North Indian dish? Chole Bhatura? No. Or what else? Tandoori roti? No. These are all, of course. Then even sabji. Matar paneer? No. Which one? Then he said, Swamiji, what you are teaching Bhagavad Gita all these years? You don't know a popular North Indian sabji, vegetable preparation, which is mentioned. Sri Krishna says, I am that preparation. I was really puzzled. I really felt I have to restart study of Bhagavad Gita. I think I have to start again. I am in kindergarten of Bhagavad Gita. I don't know a North Indian vegetarian preparation which is in the Bhagavad Gita. Which is that? Where is it said? Then he says in 9th chapter, Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suhat. There is a shloka. Gatir Bharta. Vaingan ka Bharta. Bharta is mentioned. So, leaving jokes aside now, please don't imagine verse 26 is a joke. It's serious. God knows everything, but nobody knows God. Yataha evam ataha. Because the Maya is playing its game, because it is so, yataha means yasmat. Yasmat evam vartate sarvam ataha. Therefore, aham tu veda jani. Janami is parasmaipadi, jani is atmanepadi. Na janati is, as they call it, ubhayapadi. It has forms in both parasmaipadi and atmanepadi. Jani means I know samatitani, things that are already over, samatikrantani, synonym, bhutani. So bhutani can be taken as the noun, for which the samatitani, vartamanani and bhavishyani can be taken as the adjective. So living beings, humans or other, which came and went, human beings which are presently around, and other living beings too, plants and birds, whatever. Beings which are around now, vartamana, beings which will come in future. They make forecasts. A tiny aspect or a tiny part of Bhagavan's greatness comes to some Mahatmas, even some gifted astrologers and so on. They predict in such and such year, just watch out, such and such things will happen. Such a person will come. He will do this, she will do that. In Europe, there was this Nostradamus. Nostradamus had predicted many things. He said birds of steel would attack, some word he used. And later on they found that was a reference to the 9/11, birds of steel. The reference was to those aeroplanes. They were birds of steel. They indeed hit the World Trade Center, bringing the Twin Towers to the ground. Nobody had imagined that. And several centuries ago, apparently, Nostradamus had predicted it. So this whole universe runs, operates, things happen seemingly as per some God's plan. Bhavishyani cha bhutani vedaham mam tu vedana kaschana. No one, of course, knows me. Madbhaktam muktva. Leaving aside that small number of advanced devotees, Gnani Bhakta, that Gnani Bhakta knows me. Mad Bhaktam, Mad Sharanam. By Sandhi it becomes Mat Charanam. Mat Sharanam, who has taken refuge in me. Leave him aside, Muktva. Leaving them, when you think about others, nobody among others knows me. Mat Tattva Vedana Abhavadeva Namam Bhajate. This explains why vast majority of people do not worship God. They do not worship because Vedana Abhava. They don't even have a glimpse of who I am, what my truth is. Mat Tattva. Thus, Shankaracharya gives a very brief explanation. So, this not knowing God, not knowing the true purpose of life, not knowing what our duty actually is, not knowing who we are, all this is with us from the time we are born. Time we are born, there is ego, maybe not expressed. There are likes and dislikes, maybe not expressed. It will express. Some children express their strong likes and dislikes even as they are 1 year old, 8 months old. Simple ways they express. Later on, they become very vocal about what they like, what they do not like, and so on. Kena punaha mattattva vedana pratibandhena pratibaddhani santi. By what actually are people or living beings or jivatmas blocked or held back from knowing God? Sarva bhutani mam na vidanti, and accordingly they don't know God. Iti apekshayam idamaha. When such a doubt arises, this is said, Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sargeyanti parantapa. Right at the time of taking birth, sarga can mean beginning of a creation, a cycle of creation, or in some context, sarga means right at the time of srishti, our janma, this life. Both apply here. So, samuthena, dvandva mohena. So, dvandva moha, dvandva is pairs. I like this, I don't like that. I like her, but I don't like her. So, with respect to places, people, objects, everywhere. So, with respect to objects. So, some objects we like, some objects we do not. So, with respect to all this, Dvandva, why is this? Why do you like these people and why do you not like those people? I don't know. But it is said that Dvandva Moha, because to value something excessively is also one moha. To undervalue something is also another moha. So, Dvandva moha. Samutta means that has risen. Utthana is getting up. Samutthana, rising. So this Dvandva moha has risen from Ichcha Dvesha. Deep inside us, in the unconscious, if you like to say so, there are desire and hatred, which are not easy to understand. Why we hate someone, why we like someone, even if we know it's very superficial, deep within what went wrong, in which life it went wrong. Sarva bhutani sammoham yanti. Then they get very, very confused and deluded. Sometimes they feel bad about their behavior. But alas, even though they feel bad, they can't help it. They just behave like that and regret, but again they repeat, and so on. A private company in Bangalore, instead of choosing their own officers to become the new CEO, brought a CEO from Texas, Indian. Some Indian man was in Texas in some company, and they said, he will be head of our organization, software company. And everybody loved him. He looked so wonderful and a very attractive personality. But within 2 or 3 months, he almost broke the organization into two parts because he had such strong likes and dislikes. Within 2 or 3 months, this corporate executive, good experience abroad, somehow began to like certain communities, maybe on language or whatever basis, and never would trust another community. Biased, highly partial. What will you do? So difficult to explain. Then they had to relieve him. The board appointed him with much gusto, and the board then removed him unceremoniously. So this happens. Sarva bhutani sammoham sargeya. We'll see the Shankara Bhāshya on this 27th verse and complete this chapter. Next Wednesday morning in India and next Tuesday evening in the West. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.